Welcome, everybody. Find your stim packs, get your Pip-Boys programmed, because this is episode 2 of the Fallout TV show on Amazon Video. So in episode 2, we're introduced to three new characters.
Episode 2.
We have the scientist Wilzig, the Dogmeat from the video game franchise, even though that's not his name in this series, and the crazy character Ma from Maz. So pretty much it was pretty cool.
Frickin'
it was pretty cool the way the episode started out with, like, they were showing them how they were training the German Shepherds.
Yes, actually, I believe it in the show. In the games, it's a shepherd. In the show, it looks like it's a Belgian Malinois.
But I mean, it was very interesting on how they were like regimentedly training these dogs. I mean, I guess as like attack dogs, right?
Yeah, it was really interesting to see. Like, you had some of the dogs that they were training were like, they would only respond to like different stimulants. So like, most of the dogs would respond to food or like something like that. For some reason, the Dogmeat CX404, and if you look on the paperwork when they're going through, he gives them a bear. It's like a little stuffed bear. And he sees that the dog responds to it, so like when he's on the treadmill and stuff, he puts it on
like lightning fast speed too. Like he was running his dog to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm assuming that he was probably enhanced to some degree. I mean, if he's clearly taking down humans with zero effort, I mean, he's got to be enhanced a little bit. I mean, for the most part, a dog can take out a human, at least incapacitate them. But I mean, like, he's ripping them to shreds in 2 seconds. So
and then, like,
he has to be. I would say he's definitely
a scientist who obviously has ulterior motives. Ends up, I think, like, what is it? It looked like he like stole the dog, and was like hiding it out in his like personal, I guess, bunk. Would you call that like a bunk?
I don't think he stole the dog. I think he in the process of training,
he was treating him like family.
He became really attached to said dog. So the two of them were bonded, and I think when he was trying to flee, that's when the reason why I think he took the dog is because when the dog attacked that other guy, he was like,
true.
All right, we can't stay here anymore. I got to get you out of here because they're going to kill you.
The guy that comes in and sets the alarm off. But and then just prior to that attack,
he was like, "All right, we got to go."
the scientist injects himself with something into his neck, which you find out later on in the series what it is. But it's something that the entire world ends up wanting to retrieve. And he takes the dog, and they start running.
Yeah.
And you see the massive turrets come out of the ground.
Yes, and for any of you that have played the games, you know just how annoying
they were pretty good.
They
were like realistic looking. They did a good job on them
because they did a very good job on the turrets, and I like the firing sound of the minigun and everything.
And obviously he gets away, and then they pan over to Lucy, and we're back to Lucy. Yes, she's exploring the wasteland completely.
She's
like
exploring
lost,
the wasteland.
Doesn't know where she's going. Comes across an abandoned town or house with the Go ahead.
Yeah, she comes across that weird dude, and he explains to her that. Because she asks him for directions, and he was talking about how there's a town called Philly over the next hill, but he's never been there, even though it's only like a half a mile from his house. He's never been there, but he's had other family that's been there, that apparently multiple people in his family have died in Philly. So she at gunpoint asks him for directions. I mean,
Well,
nothing
yeah.
says non-hostile like
You know,
pointing a
and
gun
then
at
but then on
somebody.
her way, like upon she finds that house with the people who have like killed themselves.
Yeah, this is where like the subplot with Vault-Tec you kind of start seeing a lot more. Because she walks into an abandoned house that's clearly been destroyed since the Great War, and they have a family sitting around a table, and clearly you can see they've all been dead for many, many years. And you can clearly see that it bothers Lucy because she can tell that something happened here that wasn't nuclear, like something else happened. So she reaches on the table and she picks up a bottle, and it says the Vault-Tec Plan B. And what
Yeah.
that is it's basically, if I had to guess, it's rat poison. So basically, it looks like the family poisoned themselves
Yeah.
rather than deal with the
Yeah,
nuclear
well, that's
apocalypse.
exactly right. Like, if you
Because
weren't
it was clear
chosen
that
or
they
could
weren't getting
afford
in the
a
vault.
vault, they gave you this option that you could have something so you didn't have to live throughout this nuclear fallout, which is kind of a sad take when you think about it. You know, because chances are they may have survived.
Yeah, it's very sad because you could
Yeah.
clearly tell that it was the parents and kids. So it's definitely one of the more
Yeah, it really is.
sorrowful moments in the show. It's
It
you don't
puts the
see
whole
anything happen, but you could clearly tell it was bad.
into perspective. You know,
The scope of everything.
and then then she has her
Yeah.
she camps out. And starts to fall asleep in the middle of the night with the fire on. And that's when she meets Wilzig and
Yeah.
CX-404 for the first time.
Yes.
And he ends up killing this rad roach and pretty much saving her because they would have probably destroyed her in her sleep.
Yeah, because he explains to her how dangerous the rad roaches actually are. But it's really eerie because you don't see much of him.
Yes.
So you really don't know much about him at that point in time. But the way he explains, like, you can tell he kind of like, in his explanation, like, he's not there to harm her in any way, but you can clearly tell, like, he goes into great detail on, like, you shouldn't be here, go back to your vault, like, there are too many things out here that can kill you. And then he goes into, if you're going to be up here, you're going to have to, there's too many things that can kill you. You're going to have to turn into a different animal up here.
Well, yeah, you have,
but are
you
you
have
okay?
to learn how to survive on your own.
With that?
You're going to have to kill things and...
At what cost are you willing to risk being up here?
And then, it puts, I think it'll then, that shows to her the difference of the life she's been living versus the life she's going to be moving forward.
Yeah, she's very naive to what is actually going on around her at the time. She picks up over time, but at the moment she just came out of the vault, so she's not at all privy to what is out there yet. But also in this exchange, you can clearly tell that Wilzig clearly knows more about her, to a great detail by some of the things he says to her.
That is true.
Than she knows about him. And then he just kind of
then you find out that this is the same man that everyone on the wasteland is looking for. And there's a giant bounty out for him.
Yeah, because apparently I was going to say there's a big bounty out on him, so
and
everybody and their mother's looking for him.
Back to from our first episode, Maximus's scenes, where he is now the squire to Knight Titus. And they come across the lovely cave.
Yes. Yes. Which it's funny too because I guess they must have picked up Wilzig's signal because the scene prior it shows him and Dogmeat sitting there eating, I forget what the heck it is.
Yeah.
It's like the spam stuff. I can't remember what the heck it's. Cram. He's eating the cram and then the next scene it shows them landing and then
I'm sure they were
the same cave because I'm guessing they were tracking him.
And they get it. They come across the radiated bear, the Yaogwai, and
yes, the Yaogwai.
Knight Titus, who's in the T-60 power armor, all decked to the nines, sends little Maximus as the squire into the cave first. And it ends up being his demise.
Yep.
Because that bear came out of nowhere.
Yes, it did. Because yes, it did.
No.
And Maximus did not do much to help him.
And he's yelling profanities like crazy. Screaming out, running away from it. Like he's not even trying to fight this thing.
OF.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he did it first, and then he realized he was completely outmatched.
Well, but then Maximus does give the kill shot, so...
Because his assault rifle is... Yes, he does. He shoots the Yaogwai in the head.
As the power armor opens, we see our lovely cameo of the actor Michael Rappaport, who plays that character to a perfect T. Calling Maximus,
Yeah.
a lot of vulgar names. You're worthless. You're a piece of shit.
They're gonna hang you for this and that, and then he goes to tell he tells Maximus, he's like, "Give me the stim pack," and he wouldn't give him the stim pack.
I think the insult started to get to Maximus to realize that if I just let him die.
I think it was less. I don't think at first it was the insults. I think in the beginning it was more of he was like, I want that power armor, and then at the end, I think he was more like, okay, this guy's done. I'm just gonna wait for him to die so I can steal his power armor. So he didn't.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what ended up happening. And then it pans away, and then it comes back a few scenes later, and now he's got the power armor off of Titus, and it's now opened up. And I will say, the scene where he steps into it...
Oh, it was awesome.
And it closes around him...
Blew my mind.
Wow. Dude, it was a better suit... It was a better suit-up scene than the way the game does it. It's the exact same sequence,
like
but to see it in live action, it looks so much better. Although I'm still trying to get behind the whole them showing him in like his face in like the power armor, like kind of like how they do it with like Iron Man, like how they did it with Tony Stark, showing him in the UI and all that stuff. So I'm still trying, it looks kind of janky, but it's cool to show like his facial features and stuff in the suit. But but it's just a little it looks like his face is crammed in there as opposed to
maybe it is
the helmet fitting correctly. Which is weird because the helmet looks huge from the outside. So then he dons his power armor, and then he's like, yeah, and then it pans to him a scene two later, and he's dazed. He's all excited. And he puts on a little dance show for everybody.
Oh yeah.
And I must say, it's absolutely hilarious. It's awkward, but hilarious. How excited he is to actually be in the power armor.
Yes. Well, he's been looking forward
It's
to
like a
this
kid
his
on
whole life.
it's like a kid on Christmas.
You know, like this has been his dream, so it's like it's finally coming true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then we finally get to the scene where I think
Yeah.
this is the coolest scene of the whole episode, where Lucy is in Philly with an F, Philly with an F, and she meets Ma at the what would you call it, like what do they call them, it's a store, but it's not what do they call them in the game?
Well, it's Ma's.
Yeah,
Curiosities or
and we
something
meet
like
this
that.
very
The name of her store.
interesting character who she's probably one of the funniest characters in the show.
Yeah, she's quite hilarious.
Yeah, and she's only in it for this brief scene.
If not the funniest.
But while she is there, the Ghoul decides to show up.
Judging from the going back and watching the scene where Lucy's kind of like walking in and like taking in everything around her, like through as she's walking into Philly, it does allude to it looking like the Ghoul was already there waiting, because like it shows him sitting in the lawn chair, kind of like off to the side, like how do I describe it? Like just kind of like incognito. Like trying not to draw attention to himself, and he really doesn't actually show him, like, makes himself known until after everything starts going down.
Boy, did he make himself known.
Yeah, not
what kind of ammunition is he
many
using?
bloody holy
rounds?
ways.
Because he's putting holes in people the size of like
it.
Yeah, 100%
it's definitely a pipe revolver. It's definitely a pipe revolver, but it looks like they almost look like little
like it hits and explodes
ammos,
on them.
like little like gyrojet ammo.
Like it leaves a giant gaping hole. You know, and if he shoots the scientist's Wilzig's leg and blows it right off. Like his foot gets blown out.
One shot, right. His whole foot's gone. And it's also good seeing that he has the lever action rifle, which in the games is an amazing
I'm more
weapon.
of a shotguns guy in the game, so
yeah, it's a good gun. It's got really weird ammo for it though, which is very expensive and hard to find, but it's good. It's a little bit more powerful than the hunting rifle.
Back into the games now, because it's just this is getting that itch. You know. Yeah, that too. Gotta save the boy.
Well, we do have some 76 to play.
But the scene is crazy. Like, you know, he comes in and like these not rebels. What are they? The Raiders.
It's the Raiders. Raiders. Yeah, just random Raiders, because it's like you were saying before.
They're all looking for him. So they are
all looking
for on this town because this is where he has come, and that Ghoul just blows him away.
Mm-hmm. And then, this is so pretty much what ends up happening is once the Ghoul realizes Wilzig's there and he's the target, he calls out and is like, "I'm here for the bounty. I'm here to get him." And Mom comes out and says that she's there to protect him, and that whoever kills the Ghoul gets 1,000 caps. But if she kills him first, nobody gets anything.
Yeah.
So I did find that to be hilarious. And then you come to find out that the person who is paying her is actually Moldaver,
which is the woman Lucy's father,
the Raider group that stormed the vault.
Yeah, she's like the head bad guy, so to speak.
Yeah, so while all this is going down, Lucy finds
Yeah.
this out, and she becomes
Well,
very
and she
conflicted after that. So now she's all over the
well
place,
and but yeah,
while
and she
everybody's
realizes
being
that
shot to hell.
the scientist is the key to getting to Moldiver. So she is going to do everything in her power to make sure that this guy survives. Which is why she took out the syringe gun.
Yeah, it's funny too because in the vault, like normally in like a vault, when you start out, every vault has the 10 millimeter pistol. But with the events of everything going down and the raiders taking everything, she was pretty much stuck with it's called a syringer in the games. So it's funny too because while she's hiding during the whole exchange going on outside, you see her in Ma's store, and you see all these guns around her, like all these different guns and bats and melee weapons and everything around her. And
yes, she does.
She chooses to stay with the syringe rather than a real gun. So then then she walks out and decides to stand up for everybody, which kudos to her for being very ballsy. And she basically says, "I don't know your situation. You know, I'm assuming you're the aggressor based off of what's going on. I would like for you to stand down." And the Ghoul's basically not about it, and so she shoots him with the syringer. And one of the funniest lines in the entire show that's been said, and he basically says, "That's a mighty small drop in a mighty big bucket of drugs."
Oh, because he's full of them.
Yeah. He had an IV drip, keeping him alive in the ground.
So then when I'm assuming it's quite a bit of drugs. He gets ready to shoot at Lucy, and then Maximus comes in with the power armor on, and they get into this huge gun battle, which is one of the coolest scenes of the whole show. Which,
yes. Yeah, and it's funny too because you can clearly tell that Maximus just rushed to throw the power armor on. He didn't learn about the power armor, and the whole time during the exchange with the Ghoul is he's basically taunting him the whole time. Like, you clearly didn't read the instruction manual and stuff like that. Because what's funny, what Maximus doesn't know is that in the Ghoul's prior life, he was in the military and he used those suits of power armor, so he knows a lot about those power armor suits, which you could clearly see in the fight because he cuts the hydraulic line. He knows exactly where to cut the hydraulic line and all this other kind of stuff. And then you see, you see a couple good exchanges. I like the one scene where he goes, after throwing him through the stairs, he hops up. He goes, "Well, I'd ask you to come up, but you're in a 1,000-pound tin can."
And while all this is going on, Ma is in the back of her store with Lucy, attempting to put on a foot to Wilzig.
Yes,
Jim's limbs.
What is it called? A Jim's limb. And I will say, that
it was like putting
it's
on a
one of the goriest scenes in the entire show. It's so gnarly. It's so because you see his nub and all the bits and pieces are hanging off, and then you just see the thing start grinding on his leg, and it's like, oh my god!
The frayed flesh till it gets to like a formidable part of the leg, and then attaches itself to it. But it worked.
And the guy gets the crap kicked out of him, and it's like you feel so bad for the guy.
But it allows him to be able to walk on that leg so that they can sneak out the back as this battle is going on out front, which ends up the Ghoul pretty much wins by I don't know what he ended up cutting off on the power armor, but he made it so that Maximus couldn't control flying.
Clearly it's a hydraulic line or something important because it started spewing
and then
all
when
kind
he took off to try and
whatever,
fly, he
steam
had no
or
control.
whatever the heck it was.
Yeah,
And he crashed into the crapper.
Yeah.
You see the guy go to the bathroom and he just walks over him.
Oh, she is.
But yeah, no, Ma is definitely a great character. And the little exchanges that she had with Lucy in her shop, I thought were really cool and really telling on where the world was at that point. Because you see Lucy walk in, and she's very naive. And with Ma, she walks up to her and she kind of said, "Oh, we're the whole point of the vaults is to try to save the world, and this and this and that." And Ma clearly has a disdain for anybody that lives in the vaults, and with good reason. And she had her own little truth that she told Lucy, because she was like, you frickin' vault dwellers, and just, I mean, like, she kept being very condescending and nasty to her the whole time. So clearly she had a problem with people from vaults, and she basically, Lucy was like, sorry you had to be up here with the dirt and stuff. So already kind of giving off